All right, guys, we did it. We funded last night. Very exciting, and I very much chalk up a lot of that to the backers, obviously who backed us, but also got behind us with all our social initiatives, the Facebook likes, the tweets, and everything else that went on. And as we predicted, we funded right when Bethesda put out the Fallout 4 announcement at E3. So that was kind of funny. Anyway, it was great news. And so anyway, the BART is back. So the best thing about these videos is when I try to use them to clarify things is they actually create more questions. So here I am giving some more answers on some of the things you've asked about. I think one thing to keep in mind though is just kind of the iterative development philosophy that we use and a lot of companies use. If you look at, if you read books on Pixar or you read interviews on Blizzard, they'll talk a lot about the fact that wherever they started is not where they ended up. And so while we try to fill out a lot of the details on these games with what we're going to do, we tend to focus on the kind of the philosophical sensibilities and things that we want to get across, and the exact way for which we get there is going to change based upon the way we're playing the game and the way you're playing the game and the feedback. And so, you know, with the Bard's Tale, like we'll know we want it to be party-based combat, and we know that we want it to be phase-based combat, and we know there wants to be tension when you play the game, so that you can't save the game maybe every second. And so when I give some of the answers these things, please keep in mind that this is the way we put these things together. And so and these are all true statements for the way we want to approach development, but the exact details will move as we go through development, and it's a natural part of the process. So one of the biggest topics is how our save game is going to work in the game, and I think there's some confusion, and I can see where some people would be concerned that it be too much like the original, i.e., one save spot all the way to the Adventurers Guild. And like I said, we're not doing that. And so my comment last time was that I liked some tension in the game when you're playing, so that you're not saving and loading for which there is absolutely no risk. Now, what amount of time is the right amount of time? Well, is it 5 minutes, right? So if it's 5 minutes, we're just negotiating here as far as what it is. Was it 5? Is it 10? It's not going to be a lot, and that might be it as most as it could be right there, if that. Because really, when it comes to saving the game, you sort of have you can there's the save anywhere, there's the save sometimes, and there's save points, and then there's also some other things that we're going to be playing with that sort of gives it a different mix. I don't want to reveal what it is yet, but ways that we could treat save game a little bit differently. But regardless, the bottom line through all of this is that we understand that you're not. It's not like the back in the day when people, some of the original Bard Still players played the game. You know, you guys have wives and you have kids and you have things you get to. You can't just lose an hour here or have to run back to the Adventurers Guild. That's not going to be the case at all. And of course you can pause anytime you want, so that's not an issue. So we just want to work through the issues of creating a little bit of tension. It's not going to be a lot of time, but still allowing for people like yourself that, you know, they can't lose an hour to go run off to the Adventurers Guild. So I hope that helps. It hasn't given every single answer in detail because, again, we're experimenting with some things and working some things out. But philosophically, you kind of know what we're doing. All right, so one of the things we also got a lot of questions about is whether the game was grid-based or not. And the answer is yes. But if you've seen the video, that wouldn't be inherently obvious. But the player can move through, and we'll take the dungeon for example. That dungeon exactly square by square by square, and map out every one along the way. Or if you don't want to be on the grid, you can come off of it and wander around in a more natural fashion. But we're creating the maps so that they're more organic in nature. They don't need to be these hard right edges that are there. In fact, if you look at Wasteland 2. Wasteland 2 was grid-based, but you wouldn't know it looking at the map, and so you can sort of hide all those things and really have the best of both worlds. And so that's what we're doing with Bard's Tale 4. So along the lines of wanting to know about whether you move on a grid or not, the other question that has been asked is whether there will be an auto map feature. And yes, there will be an auto map feature. Even Bard's Tale 3 had an auto map feature. And like I said, we're not going to force people to bust out the graph paper. So in closing, again, thank you. We funded. We're very excited, and we have a lot of plans for this game. There's a lot more we'd like to do. So hopefully we'll start hitting those stretch goals. And as usual, your guys is out there spreading the word via social media really helped. We saw when we started that program last week, we saw the bump immediately. So it really works when you guys are behind us. So I hope you'll keep supporting us all the way to the end. Especially this is E3 week, so things will be really fighting for press. So it's normally would be a very slow week, but we'll be out there pushing on it, and we hope you will too.